Victor Kilo 4 Alpha Victor, standing by on frequency.
G'day Peter, VK4AAV, VK5PAS.
Hey Paul, hey, I'm just working with Andrew down there in VK7. He's having a bit of an issue of some kind there, but I'm sure he'll call back in a sec. Yeah, g'day mate, nice to hear you. It's pretty hot up here, man. Like around 30, I don't know, I was working at my mate's paint shop today and sanding panels, and it was stinking hot. It was about 34 and the water was flowing in and straight out, man. She was hot. How's it going down there, Paul? VK5PAS, VK4AAV?
VK4AAV, VK5PAS. Yeah, good to hear you, Pete. I was listening to you there, the tail end of your conversation with the VK7. I just can't hear him, mate, but gee, your signal, you're rocketing in here, mate. 5 and 9 plus 20, Pete, so beautiful signal. And it's much the same here. It's, yeah, I think we're half an hour ahead of you now. It's pretty hard, mate. I don't know what you're like. I just lose track of time with all the different time zones around Australia now with daylight saving. So I think it's about 6 o'clock local time for you. So 6:30 here, it's just gone 6:30 in the evening here for us. And if you believe the temperature gauge on the wall, which is normally pretty accurate, it's still 35.4 outside, mate. I think it got up to about 38 degrees here today. They did say it was meant to be 36, but I know it was a lot hotter than that. At one stage here at lunchtime, I popped my head in the radio room and the temperature gauge was showing about 38.6, I think it was. So yeah, great signal, mate. I've been away for the week with Maria. We went away for our wedding anniversary. Every year we disappear for a couple of nights, and in February, and this year we went down to McLaren Vale, which is really just only a hop, skip and a jump away from here, mate. But went down there to the wine region, and we had 2 beautiful nights in a B&B down there, mate. VK4AAV, VK5PAS.
Yeah, oh nice, Paul, nice. Good on you, mate. Yeah, haven't heard you for a while, mate. I think I just had a quick hello on the 7130 net one night with you. Hey, Paul, I had my first contact into Azerbaijan today. Oh, that's pretty rad, mate. And yesterday, my first contact into Corsica, of all places. God, things are changing, mate. It's pretty unusual. A couple of new countries, one after the other like that. Usually these days, it's like very unusual to find a new country, but yeah, without a beam, you know. Oh, I'm sorry you can't hear Andrew. He might have been able to help us with his deal he's got going. There's definitely some variation in power output. You know, it's not just QLD. 1 minute I can hear him, 1 minute I can't. You know, it's he's going from S12 to S7. It's just completely like one or the other. You know. So he's going to check a couple of things, and I'll have a yak with him again in a sec, I guess. But yeah, so how's Luke going, and Mariah and the family? They're all doing good, mate.
Yeah, things are really good here, Pete. Really, really good, mate. As I say, we had this great week away. It was about 3 days away, so we came back to reality yesterday. But yeah, mate, typical of Maria, she bought a massive amount of food down with us, and went to the central market here in Adelaide, and she bought a whole lot of cheeses and meats and stuff like that. So the first day on the Wednesday when we drove down to the Vale, we had a beautiful little picnic down there in one of the parks, and had one of those little mini bottles of wine each, mate, and had a whole variety of different cheeses and stuff. So we've got a whole pile of it left over. So we've got some friends, or 2 couples that we know very well. They're coming over tomorrow afternoon, so we can polish off the rest of the leftovers, mate, and crack open a couple of bottles of the red that we bought while we were down there. So no, things are good, mate. Jake's very busy with his trade. He's back off to Melbourne again, I think, early next or late next week. I think he's flying out again to do his TAFE course over in Melbourne for his locksmithing. And mate, Olivia's 14 going on 21. I know you were saying you knew all those sort of dramas there with your daughter as well, mate. VK4AAV, VK5PAS.
Same age, eh? Boy, yeah, you know exactly what's going on. Yeah, this one's same 15 now, just turned 15, so a few weeks ago Oh well, trouble ahead, I think. We'll just have to wing it, you know. There's no manual telling us how to do this stuff. So, yeah, my first daughter, that's my only daughter, I think, for all I know. Anyway, yeah, she's a good kid for the most part. Getting stuck into her schoolwork at the moment. She's definitely got her heart set on becoming a chiropractor. She has for about the last 2 years, which is kind of unusual because at that age I was more interested in running around in the bush and cutting down trees and all the rest of it, having swimming and stuff like that, than at 12 or 13 years of age that I was thinking about what I was going to be in life. But anyway, yeah, good on her. So she's announced that she's going to become kind of a hermit, and that she's setting up for a good OT and some scholarships. So we'll have to see. Hopefully she's got half a brain on her. Seems like she runs through it quite well. So yeah, hopefully it works for her. The young fella, Jesse's well back into his training again down at Bonegilla, and the Army's treating him quite well. He said he's got a wing commander that pisses him off, and I thought that's good. Someone's got to bite you every now and then. Keep them on track, you know. I think the only gripe really is that in their common rooms they have a fridge and a microwave, but the guy won't let them keep 2-minute noodles so they can have a quick snack if they need to. Because, I mean, at that age, man, they burn 1 million calories an hour, you know, and they have dinner at 5:30 and by 7:30 they're starving again, and I think it's a bit unfair. He told them they could have granola bars and things, but he wouldn't let them have cans of tuna. And Jesse tried to explain to him that the cans of tuna were for a camping trip they're having in 2 weeks, and the guy wouldn't listen. He made him throw it out. You know, what a dick. Anyway, you get that. he's got the power and authority. He can push the little buggers around, But yeah, there's still limits, I think, you know. Yeah. Anyway, maybe his staff will let him get away with a bit of stuff, but I'm sure this wing car isn't going to. Yeah. Oh, well, that's about the news from here. Hey, any news on how Kyle's doing? How's Dave and Kyle? What are they up to, mate?
Yeah, mate, just before I do, what's the story with the tuna? I would have thought that was healthy. What's he looking at it from the health point of view, mate? If he is, he's probably off the mark with the tuna, Pete.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Can of tuna? I mean, geez, would you not want a bunch of your fit young lads to have some tuna for a snack during lunchtime or whatever if they can't stick to mess hall food or what? You know, I mean, it's a bit off, I thought. But anyway, that's the way it is. That's the rule he's setting, and he's fairly new there, so maybe the older times staff that's there will temper the guy a little bit when he gets to know a few things. But yeah, it seems a bit rough, I thought. I mean, these kids have volunteered their lives for this thing, and you know, here he is, bloody, you know, running around like they're a bunch of stupid little school kids or something, you know, and he knows best, I guess. But you know, I mean, these kids have a need for calories, as you can appreciate, being that your lad's a big bloke. And like, I'm sorry, mate, I think your son's name's, is it Luke or Jake? I keep forgetting. I don't have that good a memory sometimes, all over.
VK4AAV, VK5PAS. No, not a problem, Pete. Yeah, Jake's the eldest one here. And look, mate, I know exactly where you're coming from, because particularly what your young fella's doing, what Jesse's doing, mate, he would be burning the calories like something fierce. So, and as a young fella, he'd be getting the craving for food all the time. But that's pretty bizarre. Yeah, I know some of those staff sergeants and commanders and all that are there to break your balls, as to speak. But mate, gee, that's a little bit unusual. But mate, as for Dave, I spoke to Dave just before I went away down to McLarenville, and yeah, a few things have happened at home there, mate, which I'm sure he'll probably share with you at some point. But I spoke to him very, very briefly, and he said Kyle was doing very well. In fact, I'm glad you raised his name, because I've got him on my list of things to do here. I probably should give him a call on the landline this evening, mate, and I'll let him know that I spoke to you, Pete. But other than that, yeah, pretty much the same here. Nothing much to report. I'm just about to. I can hear a bit of activity outside of the room here. I think I'm just about to get the call for the evening meal, mate. So I'll let you get back to the VK7, but I just heard your melodious tones there, mate, and I just couldn't go by the frequency without coming up and saying g'day to you. Great about your work in that those new countries, mate, and the DX, particularly as you say, you don't have the beam, so mate, the beam here, particularly now, I've got it up 51 feet off of the ground with the help of Dave and another mate of mine here. That's just made the world of difference to me. It really, really has. But I haven't really been on 20 metres all that much, Pete. The conditions sort of seem to have been relatively average, but today the conditions seem to be pretty good on the long path. But I've hooked up PSK31 and PSK63 here on another little laptop, so I've been really, really busy playing around on the digital modes, mate. But just so much other stuff going on in life. I've really been struggling with the time to sit here at the radio and play around with it all, mate. But anyway, Pete, I'll go out and see what the go is with dinner, mate. And all the best to you and the family up there, mate. I'll give Dave a call tonight and I'll let him know that I had a chat. And if I hear you next time around, Dave, I can see him on Skype, I'll get him to come up and say g'day as well, Pete. VK4AAV, VK5PAS.
Yeah, thanks for giving us a yell, mate. Good to hear you again. And yeah, Maria, that's right, not Mariah. Look, I have a sister-in-law, my wife's sister's called Mariah, and it's spelled almost the same way as your wife's name, and that's why I get stuck in my head there. But yeah, I knew Maria's name was spelled with a J. I was thinking, hang on, how do you say that? All right, mate. Yeah, great hearing you. And yeah, regards to the family. And yeah, my commander-in-chief will be up pretty soon. She's having a little snooze. She's been at a yoga thing all day teaching teachers. So now she's training yoga teachers. So yeah, she's getting up in the ranks there and doing pretty well and really, really enjoying it. Danielle's really, really loving her yoga, and oh, it keeps her happy, you know. She does all this prenatal and postnatal stuff with mums and bubs and everything, so, and is helping her instructor with the new teachers coming along, so yeah, it was fun for her, and not so much fun for us because we hardly see it, but that's, well, that's one of those life decisions she's made to do something good for herself. And believe it or not, she actually makes money at it. So I'm like, well, that's all good. So she was teaching at the little school with all these little kids that fall through the net. She's teaching remedial math and English to these little fellas that are only about 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, just the ones that are really slipping up and not catching up with the other kids. And so she thoroughly enjoys that part of her life too. So I reckon a happy commander-in-chief means everyone's good. Anyway, that's the main thing. Alright, Paul, great hearing you, and enjoy your Saturday, mate, and what's left of it there, and we'll see you again, man, and yeah, say good day to Dave for us. VK5PAS, VK4AAV, see you, mate.
VK4AAV, VK5PAS. Oh, mate, you're well and truly on the money there, Pete. A happy wife is a happy house, I'm told, so yeah, mate, on Thursday night, I put my name down for the committee for the local amateur radio club here, and would you believe that the actual meeting night fell on one of the nights that we were away on this little love nest away time, mate. But Maria actually came to the meeting with me, so there's some dedication. But I tell you what, the spin-off is you should see the list of things that I've got to do in the next week, mate, to for payback. And mate, as for your daughter, that's great about the chiropractic work. If she gets in that line of work, that's just fantastic, and the doors will just open up for her there. There's just so much possibilities for her future, mate. That's just fantastic. She's got that commitment at 15, because yeah, most girls, as you know, the hormones are flying around, and the Xboxes, and well, I guess not so much for the girls, but the Facebook and all that sort of stuff. So that's terrific, mate. All right, Pete, best 7-3, and I was going to say, yeah, Maria, for years and years, she actually spelt her name the Italian way and the Greek way, which is without the J. And actually it was just before we got married, so it was for all of the legal documents. I encouraged her to go back and spell her name correctly, because yeah, but she just got so peeved off with people calling her Marija and all sorts of things, and and understandably so, they just couldn't get their grasp around the silent J. So she's now spelling a name as she was born with, mate. So, all right, Pete, all the best, mate. Pass the regards on to the family for me, and yeah, I'll certainly say g'day today for you, mate. Great to hear you, mate. Take it easy and stay cool. Sounds like you've still got stinking weather like we do here. 36.7 on the temperature gauge on the wall here at the moment, mate. So I think it might be beer o'clock. VK4AAV, VK5PAS. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Paul. +10, by the way, all the way through there. So, yeah, good on you, mate. It's only about 28 degrees here, so we're having a cool evening, relatively speaking. See you, mate.
See you, Pete. Cheers.